What is up, YouTube? How we doing? Today we got another reaction to Aninews cut content. We have season 4 of ReZero episode 13, the craziest episode so far in the core, and we are like 2 episodes in. This core is starting off strong, bro. This, oh my god, I cannot wait to watch this because obviously there's going to be a lot of information about how everything worked. How gluttony is in the corridor of memories, what the corridor of memories is, how Rem was able to be there. Maybe it is Rem's memories because obviously they were stolen by gluttony. How Lyle and the other guy were able to get into the tower. I think the why they are here, I think is pretty obvious because I think we got really close to like figuring out how to save Rem from gluttony and obviously retrieve her memories back, and obviously do the same for Julius, and obviously gluttony is not going to be okay with that, so they pulled up to like fuck up the plans. I think that would make sense. But yeah, I hope all these questions that I asked will be answered this video. If not, it is what it is. Obviously you can't answer all the questions because you know you don't want to risk spoiling everybody with the content. And yeah, let's get straight to it. ReZero season 4 episode 13. Let's go.
Every episode, Subaru is evolving more and more.
Very fast.
It just so happened that evolution was a bit more literal here,
that
coming off the
crazy.
back of Rem doing exactly what Subaru said she'd do.
Yeah.
It was a major turning point both physically and emotionally.
Also, I want to know why, I don't remember her name, but Gluttony, the girl, the blonde girl, why was she helping Subaru so much? She was giving him so much valuable information for no reason, even though like that goes against her plan. Like I don't know, we'll see.
See, not only did Subaru manifest a brand new power, he also finally understood the two versions of himself.
That was him manifesting a brand new power? Okay.
Were never enemies to begin with, yet alone different existences where one deserved to live over the other. That was the shadows Subaru's been fighting this entire time, constantly.
Yeah, it almost feels like these two Subarus are like two different people.
Himself even deserved to remain. The anime does a great job portraying just how gut-wrenching of a decision that was, but there was a lot more that happened behind the scenes. So, from the true nature of the corridor of memories to Subaru awakening a whole new power, there's lots of extra details you're not going to want to miss out on.
Oh, I don't want to miss out on it. Let's go.
Episode 79.
Obviously, the actual video is going to be in the description. Shout out to Aninews content. We appreciate you.
Covering chapters
Stand the fuck up.
Volume 24 of the light novel.
Yup. Let's go.
With everyone now operating as a team again, Amelia would take this brief moment of respite to ask Subaru if he was going to start acting like himself again. She was clearly concerned over his lack of Amelia-tailored mannerisms, so her and Beatrice decided to see if perhaps he remembered some. Unfortunately, he didn't. Though Subaru didn't know why they looked so disappointed after, as we can tell from the anime, it's definitely been weighing on them.
Yeah.
Amelia would even try to jog Subaru's memory by showing him the plushie of Puck that he'd made, Subaru's reaction just being confusion. To him, it looked like she was showing him her pet cat, but to her, it was yet another disappointment.
Damn.
It was after that
we didn't see that, obviously, that was cut.
Subaru's amnesia was the result of his attempt to try and clear the tower, leading to the decision to focus on that. Ram would actually agree Subaru's memory was unimportant too, mainly because, as she saw it, the value of his contribution was barely different from what it was before.
I'm sorry, I'm very concentrated because this episode was so, like, obviously it was, like, really good, but it was so confusing. Like, every time I finish watching a ReZero episode, I just end up with more questions instead of, like, answers. And the end of this episode, obviously he's probably going to talk about it, but I have a theory that this is not the real Subaru, and that this might be a clone made with just the old memories of Subaru in Earth before being isekai, and then after he got isekai, he just gotta cut off all those memories and then make it so look like he just lost his memories. Because how, like, why was, what's her name, like the gluttony, she was able to like cut into two people, like she was like two different people, right? When she was like fighting the main Subaru, like she pushed him on the floor and then she cut into two people. Does that mean she was able to like take his form and be like a Subaru clone? Is that also why she's able to take control over Subaru at any point? You know, when she killed Meili, for example? I don't know, man.
Of course, Subaru knew that that was just her way of accepting his proposal, knowing deep down she definitely had mixed feelings about it. Now, the discussion on Raid focused on whether he was dead or not, the conclusion leaning yes, since an alive Raid would never stay here. The only reason anyone could think of for why he would stay was simply because he was bound to the tower. Perhaps
Makes
the
sense.
rules of the examination prevented him
could have
from
guessed
going
that.
anywhere else. This led Subaru to think back to his previous loop, the chaotic scenario where Raid did roam freely. If not for one lingering regret back then, Subaru knew Raid would have walked from the tower without any hesitation.
Okay.
So perhaps it wasn't the tower bounding Raid at all, but instead Julius and the unfinished business they had together. Meili would then recall how searching Tejada
So Reed stays there until either Julius kills him or he kills Julius?
was something Subaru had been doing the night before, reinforcing the notion that this was the same idea the old Subaru had come up with. She couldn't remember how many books Subaru had attempted to read, but based on her memory of him, Subaru fully believed his memory loss was connected to those books. That's why, if they should manage to find Raid's book, Subaru believed it best that he should read it. To him, it wouldn't be too entirely crushing if he'd lost his memories again. That's not to say
he already
was
lost
okay
them.
with losing his memories though, since after living this day 4 times over, Subaru had made a lot of important memories that he didn't want to lose.
True, like, even though, like, it only has been one day, and obviously just 4 loops, I know that sounds like crazy, it's just 4 loops, but compared to the other Subaru, like, this Subaru, like, he didn't do that much compared to the other Subaru when it comes to, like, you know, living life and memories and stuff. But he did make a lot of significant choices. He didn't, like, create bonds in such a small amount of time, but he still did create those bonds, so obviously he wouldn't want to lose that. And it feels like every time it's like we're creating a new Subaru, right? And it feels like the other Subaru is just kind of like being lost. It's not even like memories at this point, it's like a new person technically.
His promise with Ram to his vow with Meili, already Subaru was carrying armfuls of memories he determined to be precious. They were so precious that Subaru knew he couldn't afford to lose them. Now, everyone knew it was incredibly unlikely to find a single person's book at random, but considering how Subaru managed to find 2 all in a single day, that meant he likely uncovered a system. There was no way he was lucky enough to find 2 readable books amongst the millions of others. That meant all they needed to do was figure out what that system was, after which they could use it to find whoever they wanted.
But they didn't.
It was before everyone would set off to figure that out that first Julius would enlighten them on some existing stories about Raid. There was the time he'd fought 100 dragons and won, then another where he went undefeated 6,000 battles in a row in the arena on Gladiator Island.
That nigga's
There was
strong.
even a famous legend of how he'd defeated a demon god in a drinking competition.
Now I know that both Mushoku Sensei and ReZero's authors are friends. And even the voice actors got married, right? Is that like an Easter egg for Mushoku Sensei?
All were equally absurd, yet the common theme was that they were all stories of his achievements. Unfortunately, none existed regarding his failures or defeats. That led Subaru to think perhaps Raid truly never did lose, a harrowing thought that, if true, would make their predicament even harder.
Yeah.
In any case,
I mean, it was already hard enough.
The challenge of beating Raid would ultimately come down to Julius, and that's why Subaru felt the need to talk to him. Again, he thought back to how Raid considered Julius to be a regret, a rather strange take considering how Raid apparently destroyed Julius. It would make sense for a loser to fixate on the person who beat them, but for a winner to fixate on a loser, that meant something was up. That's
because maybe he saw the potential. He's like, this guy could defeat me. Like, maybe he's just like disappointed, right? Maybe he knows that this guy could defeat him and he wants him to defeat him.
Subaru felt the need to talk to Julius now, since if Raid was willing to go so far as to re-challenge Julius in a 1v1, perhaps Julius did have the potential to beat him. It was an idea Subaru wanted to start planting into Julius's head from now. First, he needed to rebuild Julius's confidence though, a feat he was only able to accomplish by leveraging the achievements and influence of old Subaru. This current Subaru had no right telling Julius what he did here, but
They did it in such a good way though.
Because that was a reputation old Subaru had earned for himself.
No, he still did it
His
right.
words were so bold that
I thought of a lot of different matchups in my head, but us guys having to do whatever we can before asking the girls to fight, that would be a disgrace for a night.
Julius almost didn't believe Subaru had lost his memories, but whether he did or not, Subaru knew Julius wouldn't run away regardless of what his mindset was.
Right.
He'd seen it in his last loop, so it was clear the only thing Julius was missing was determination. So, when Subaru hit Julius's chest twice, the first hit was to entrust his expectations, while the second was to hammer home a powerful hope.
Okay.
And it all served to remind Julius of who he was.
That's really cool that even that small detail, they still made sure to like put it into the anime, like the 2 taps. That's cool.
It didn't matter that Subaru or anyone else didn't remember him, as everyone could see exactly who he was just by the way he acted.
Facts.
So, with the past being one thing and the future another, the two would return back to the group ready to face the next challenge. When it came to Meili finding the book, according to her,
we're getting
it
to the
truly
serious
was just
stuff.
by chance. That
We're getting to the
doubled on
serious stuff.
Subaru's intent to find a system, but at least the group was one step closer to figuring out why Subaru's memories disappeared. That, however, was a danger the group took into heavy consideration, quite a bit of time being spent on deciding who should read the book. It's a whole skipped conversation that centers around the group's concern for Subaru.
Oh, really?
They didn't want to risk him losing even more of his memories, but really he was the only choice that made sense.
Yeah, but like, he already lost his memories. Might as well do it again. You know what I mean? Like, from their POV, would you rather a guy that already lost his memories just lose maybe a couple more hours of memories that he, like, you know? Or have somebody else lose also their memories, and now we're stuck with 2 people with amnesia? Might as well, like, give it to Subaru.
Like I said before though, to Subaru this was still a major concern since there was no telling if he might lose his memories from before this world. He had always wondered why he didn't, so if those were on the chopping block next, Subaru felt perhaps he could lose his very sense of self too.
Yeah, just
it was a
not know
terrifying
who he
sentiment
is
that
anymore.
helped him see his current circumstances were more fortunate than he thought.
Yeah.
In any case, it was once Subaru made up his mind that everyone knew they weren't going to be able to change it. Instead, all anyone could do was give him words of support. Beatrice and Amelia reminded him to come back. Ram threatened him not to forget their promise, and while Aridina didn't fully agree herself, with her prior theories being
The number of books you read is what determines the amount of memory you lost. That's stupid, I think. I don't agree with that.
But speculation, her intent to make a choice that was the least likely to be dangerous wasn't really possible.
No, that's stupid.
With everyone else all in agreement, Subaru would pick up Raid's book and prepare
Oh
himself.
shit, here we
The
go.
pressure coming from it was even greater than what he'd felt from Meili's, suggesting the feeling changed depending on whose book you read. Perhaps it was determined by the type of life the subject lived, or perhaps it indicated the weight of a life Subaru's memory couldn't handle. Either way, where Subaru's reading of Meili began with the merging of consciousnesses, almost immediately Subaru knew that this was different.
Yeah,
This
it
is where
looked
the anime
different.
really steps things up, faithfully
yeah.
adapting a very revealing and emotional conversation.
Oh
In
yeah.
the beginning, only very minor details were left out, things like Ruri referring to the archbishops as
The witch cult is like a gather of outcasts hated by the world.
outcasts, her playfully denying the notion
No way, shut up, no, nope, never, not on your life.
that they were villains, then an outright declaration
There are just a few too many egos, we're pretty fed up with it.
that she was fed up with the gifts from her brothers. Those
Oh, oh, so she's not like her brother. She's like, I don't want to keep taking all these memories.
first two only slightly reframe the context of that conversation, while that last part about her being fed up indicates her amalgamation of egos might be
I
more
just realized she had a different outfit. I thought she had the same white outfit. She had a different outfit in season 3. I don't know if that has to, like, if that's important, but she has a different outfit.
Troublesome than it actually is. Now, it was Rui's mention of Subaru's parents that brought up a sore topic of sorts.
Uh-huh.
Subaru knowing that if he disappeared, his parents would keep searching for him forever. That being the case, rather than have his parents experience the pain of never finding him, Subaru felt it best he should have died instead.
Damn.
To him, being
that's
reborn
crazy.
was much better than whatever summoning this was. The reason Rui even brought up his parents at all is because she was trying to manipulate one of Subaru's deepest emotional vulnerabilities.
Yeah,
Whereas
and she
Subaru
almost did
thought
it.
He'd resolved that part of his past already. Both he and Rui knew it was only on a surface level.
She almost
She
did
wanted
it.
to remind Subaru his efforts were nothing but superficial. At this point, Subaru felt the need to take back control of the conversation, reeling it back so
Another question that I've been asking myself is, out of all the books, why read? Was it random or was it specifically this one? I think he also tried to read Reed's book back in, like, before he lost his memories, and it got him here, and that's how he lost his memories. But like, why does Reed's book specifically get you into the corridor of memories? Is it because Reed lost his memories? So every time you try to read somebody's book who was enveloped by gluttony, you just end up in the corridor of memories. Like, like if you try to read, well, obviously she's not dead, but let's say hypothetically she was dead, and obviously she wasn't cured from gluttony. If you try to read Rem's book, would you get into the corridor of memories? I don't
could
know.
talk about the archbishops again. Subaru would ask how many of them there were,
7.
Rui answering saying only 4, but of that 4, she wished 2 of them would die. This
There's
is
only
because
4?
archbishops were at their
Oh no, they're dead. Oh, the other ones are dead. I forgot.
core outcasts, a group of pariahs no different from the witch. She did say the witch was a lot nastier than them though, so because of that, she didn't really like being lumped in with her. That didn't change the fact that they
Why
were
does it sound like Rui knows the Witch of Envy personally?
ultimately the same. Good for nothing's compatible only with witch factors. They were just called different things in different times and different places.
Okay.
Subaru would then ask if Rui was some type of god serving as the checkpoint right before being isekai'd, a concept she was actually familiar with but didn't fully understand.
She's familiar with Isekai? Obviously, she took Subaru's memories, so she knows that he got Isekai, but her being familiar with it means that it's not her first time knowing about Isekai characters. Well, there is a lot of stuff in the ReZero world that does seem like for example, when they went to that one place with, I think her name is Elsa, right? Or Foxidna at that time. We didn't know that. And we were like, oh, this all like the architecture here is like, it kind of looks like Japanese like culture and stuff, right? Like even the way there's like no chairs and they sit on the floor and stuff. And they spoke of this person, and it was like, oh, this person, like, maybe it was also an isekai character. Maybe.
That's when she would explain what this place was, defining it simply as a mechanism intended to prevent the world from breaking.
Huh.
Odd Ragna had nothing to do with God, as all it did was recycle souls and nothing more.
Okay.
It didn't care for witch factors or blessings, or for who you are and what you did. All it did was cleanse a soul of its memories and experiences, allowing it to be returned to the world and used again.
That's why. So this place doesn't care if you have a fucking witch factor or anything else. That's why Satsula wasn't here. That's why you can just Rui was able to take Subaru's memories even before being isekai into this world. Basically, this thing bypasses everything about somebody's soul and memories. Like, it bypasses everything. Because, like, usually I would have thought that, like, if a gluttony, like one of the, which, like, you know, what's their name? If, like, Lyle or the girl or anybody, like, the other guy, the third guy, the cultist, or, like, the gluttony witch rack, I forgot their name. Anyways, like, the three motherfuckers, the three lolly motherfuckers, I thought that if they would take Subaru's memories, they would not even be able to like access his memories before entering this world. But no, if he's here, corridor of memories, anything is accessible.
It's essentially an automated mechanical system that maintains the structural integrity of reality. There was actually a point
Kind of like the Spider-Verse.
in Season 2 where it was mentioned, Roswell's pact being consecrated under the risk of his soul.
Should I renounce this vow, my soul shall be tainted and my flesh enveloped and burned away by the purifying fire, and my soul shall fall into the void, never to return to Odoragna again.
Never returning to
Whoa.
Odoragna again.
I forgot about
I'm
this.
sure at the time we probably considered that to be the afterlife, but
Huh.
really it was just here.
Okay.
A place that allowed souls to return back to the world again. So, should Roswell break his pact, then his soul would be permanently exiled from the natural cycle of the universe. It wouldn't be
That
able to
makes
return to the place
sense.
Subaru was
Okay.
at now, resulting in his soul being lost forever.
This place is really cool, by the
Now,
way.
all that spiritual stuff aside, though this current Subaru wasn't aware of the punishment that awaited should someone find out about return by death,
Yeah.
an instinctual fear had caused him to hesitate.
But here, if he spoke about return by death, since this place does not care about your wish factors or anything, Satala wouldn't be able to like enter here and like, you know, stop Subaru from saying it. So he can just talk about it freely. But it is also cool that he has like kind of like an instinct, or like his body has like an instinctual fear that he just kind of hesitates to talk about it.
Rui
'Cause
knew
he's so
exactly what the
traumatized.
root of that fear was, though, so she was able to comfort Subaru by telling him the witch won't know anything.
Exactly.
Her rule had already been broken for an entire day, yet with nothing terrible having happened, everything was fine. So, more importantly than that, was the fact that Subaru now knew his previous self had returned by death as well. He had never known for sure, but at least now he knew why Subaru was able to build such a high reputation for himself.
Yeah.
It was when Rui declared her love after that was
That was
what
weird.
caused Subaru to reach his breaking point. It reminded him of the hopeless situation of the last loop, and that was just too much for him to handle right now. Interestingly enough, though, Rui had zero intention of fighting back here. Reason being that she knew
this whole
Subaru
scene made me
wasn't
kind
gonna
of
do anything.
Uncomfortable.
She also didn't think Subaru would ever make it back here to begin with, but the fact he did was a pleasant surprise all on its own. Subaru had wanted to tighten his grip to show he was serious, but just as Rui predicted,
she knew.
all he did was loosen it.
She knew that he
So,
wasn't gonna do
this
shit.
brings us to the whole predicament of this Subaru versus that Subaru, a cruel game of musical chairs where only one of them could win. Subaru wanted nothing more than to give Amelia and the others the Subaru they knew back, but the thought of his own existence disappearing caused him to hesitate.
Yeah, basically.
He had hoped
it
perhaps
makes
getting
sense
his
though.
memories back would just result in both their consciousnesses blending, but not even Rui knew what would happen when the time came.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Gluttony
Like it basically feels like this Subaru would just kind of get erased.
had never seen someone get their memory back, so there was no telling what would happen to either version of Subaru.
Oh, Gluttony was never gave somebody else their memories back, or somebody never was able to get their memories back. That's crazy.
So, while Subaru had resolved himself to not hesitate when it came to this very moment, the fatal mistake he made was not taking into consideration what would happen to him. Rui's taunts also didn't help either, her calling herself the person who brought him to life. She would even go so far as to call
Technically, if you think about it, yeah. She took her memories, therefore this new Subaru was born. Because we at Subaru Natsuki's memories, you're here now. We ate Subaru Natsuki's memories, you're here now. So that makes us almost like your mother. Kind of. I mean, she's not lying. I'm not gonna lie. Last episode, Rui had a masterclass in manipulation. She manipulated the fuck out of him.
herself his mother, calling his choice to die in front of her
Choosing your own death right to your mother's face, isn't that disrespecting your parents, mister?
extremely disrespectful. In the end, Subaru would be faced with a gut-wrenching decision: die for the Subaru of old or live for the Subaru of now.
Yeah.
It was while doing so that he could sense his feelings towards the other Subaru
That's
being
such
scorched
good
away.
writing.
And it was as
It's a
Rui
good
kept
conflict, then it
encouraging him
makes
to make a
sense.
decision that Subaru would be reminded of a similar scenario. A tragic scene he'd once witnessed from the opposite point of view. It was then that Subaru would demand proof. Proof that the current him would disappear. The thing is, Rui couldn't talk about the things that she didn't know. So
Yeah, she didn't
again,
know.
she would encourage Subaru to make his decision, all while Subaru could only wonder what his potential loss of self would be like. The thought brought with it a fear fundamentally different from that of death, since where death was something he'd experienced 4 times over now, this was the loss of something more.
Yeah,
It
non-exist.
was
Like
the loss
he
of a life
doesn't
he found
exist
to be
anymore.
way too short. The loss of a life Subaru knew he'd been terrible at. He wasn't just talking about the 2 accumulated days he'd spent across all his loops here, but also his entire 17 years back in his original life. Most important of all, though, it was the loss of the moments his current self found to be precious. So, it was upon Subaru's realization that he didn't want to lose
I guess
any
that
of
is a good question though. Like, what is gonna happen when Subaru gets his memories back? Is the 2 conscious, like his consciousness and the other one's like consciousness, are just gonna merge, or is this Subaru just gonna cease to exist? That's a good question.
that his body would physically shatter much like how it did back with Tifon. Since this was a world that showed the reflection of the feelings in his heart, the fake shell Subaru had been wearing was finally coming undone. The strong facade he'd been putting on was literally peeling off.
This was so
So,
good.
despite
This was
Subaru's
so
life
good.
always having been so negative, this short 2-day period with the others was a ray of sunlight he didn't want to let go of. Not willingly and certainly not by his own actions.
And like, I understand his
Rui would then
feelings.
bite his hand to remind him of his own existence, demanding he affirm this Subaru and kill the other one. It was amongst the tears that Subaru didn't even know what emotions he was feeling,
And
but
he almost-
what he did know was that he was ready to take Subaru's place now.
Yeah, he almost did it. He almost was like, yeah, I'll just never get my memories back and keep living like this.
Even if the blurry figure approaching him happened to share the same face as him, Subaru was determined to kill the other Subaru and claim what he felt was
Wait, what?
face as him. Place now. Even
What?
if the blurry figure
Even if the blurry figure...
approaching him happened to share the same face as him,
What? Even if the blurry figure approaching him happened to share the same face as him? What do you mean the same face? That's Rem. I don't know. That's confusing.
Subaru was determined to kill the other Subaru and claim what he felt was his. The moment he was about to declare themselves different, though, that's when Subaru would realize it wasn't himself.
Oh,
instead-
he thought that it was himself. And I said it too when I heard the footsteps. I was like, is that him? Like, is that the old Subaru? But no, it was Rem. And he thought that as well, I guess. So, like, the blurry figure from far away looked like him? That's weird.
It was the girl who would remind Subaru of who he truly was.
Yep.
Her words would increase the number of cracks manifesting within Subaru's heart,
Stand
allowing
up.
Subaru to break free from the shell of Subaru. What emerged in the end was a person no different from what had been there before. If anything had changed, it would be his demeanor from before Rem's appearance and after. The rest was
Such a
pretty
good
much
scene.
as
And
we
the
saw.
music as well.
Rem's very actions exactly like how Subaru described back in Season 2, Episode 12. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys remember the
I knew that when I was at the end of my rope, clutching my knees and wallowing in anguish, you would come and stay gently by my side.
conversation Subaru had.
There's no way Subaru is gonna end with Emilia. That wouldn't make any sense. I'm sorry. There's no way Subaru ends up with Emilian at the end of, like, ReZero. Like, obviously, we don't know how ReZero is gonna end, if Subaru is gonna die at the end, or if he's gonna go back to his world, or he's just gonna live here happily ever after. But let's say if he did, I would rather he ends up with Rem than Emilia. They just have stronger bond, bro.
with Carmilla here, but the reason he was able to tell it wasn't
You'd listen to my troubles, let me vent my insecurities, and wring everything out of me until my tears ran dry. And also, he does end up with her in one of the... what was it? Greed route? No, it wasn't the greed route. Don't remember which route it was, but... you know, when, like, they end up together and they marry each other and they have kids and stuff. Yeah, like, they do technically end up together, but I really hope they do actually end up like in the main plot line.
Her is because Rem would never tell Subaru to give up.
Yeah,
Instead, she would
stand
always
up.
listen to his grievances
And then you'd
tell
say,
him to
now
stand
stand
back
up.
So,
Literally
to see
what
real
she
Rem
said.
do that here and now? Well, that was a very emotional reunion I really wasn't expecting. Now,
Me
Subaru
neither.
immediately knew Rem's words to be a confession of love, giving him one more reason not to give
My name
this
is
place
Subaru
back
Natsuki.
to the old Subaru. More
Wait,
importantly,
what?
one more reason not to give this place back to the old Subaru. More importantly than that, though, was the way her
Okay.
words triggered something deep inside Subaru. The novel describes it as him being purified, but the anime shows it as something more. Both display it as the complete manifestation of the Greed Authority. The novel.
The authority of greed? He has greed now? Okay, the authority of greed has to do with... Oh, cause fucking Greed died! I forgot that we killed him in season 3. Yes! But the Greed Authority, isn't it just like you're able to stop your heart? Or something like that? Like invulnerability?
Makes that clear
Right.
by saying "Come Corleones," and the anime displays it by showing the Leo constellation. So
Yeah.
this was the seed of greed responding to Subaru's desires. It resonated with Subaru's want to hold everything.
Oh, he
and
gonna be
lose
powerful as
nothing,
shit.
blooming it into the strength that would allow.
I would guess that at the end of ReZero, he's gonna have all the 7 like authorities, right?
him to fulfill that wish. It was this fickle witch factor connecting with his being. So, with an unwavering greed now settled within Subaru, Subaru had finally come to the understanding he and his other self weren't different. His need
Same
to
person.
differentiate himself was nothing but a curse, so with that curse now lifted, finally Subaru felt that he could move forward again. Rui's plan had always been to divide the two Subarus, but instead, Subaru had come out united. It was an incredible scene that resulted
Crazy
in
that we're talking about 2 people, but at the same time talk about the same person.
incredible growth, all supported by ReZero's true best girl. I am
Facts, Aninews. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, because you know there's like 2 people saying like, oh, best girl is Amelia. Best girl, bro. Rem, come on, bro. Rem is way better than Amelia. Like I said, Amelia as a standalone character is more interesting than Rem and has more substance than Rem. But when it comes to relationship wise and in terms of like bond with the main character, Rem has a way better bond with Amelia instead of Amelia.
a little worried now that it seems Rui's discarded Rem's memories, so hopefully those can still be retrieved somehow. In any case, there was a bit more regarding why Rui did what she did, but just in case that's shown next episode, I won't talk about it yet.
Okay.
Now,
Appreciate
I don't
that.
know about you, but
Respect
this to
that.
me was one of my favorite episodes so far.
Me too.
Mostly because
Me
it had
too.
Rem, but for lots of other reasons too.
Yeah, no, it was such
Let
a
me know
good
down below
episode.
what you thought too, because
Thank
as
you.
far as episodes go, quite a lot happened in this one.
Appreciate your
If
Aninews.
you liked what you saw, then leave a like too, and if you want to see more, then be sure to subscribe.
Yes, sir.
But anyway,
Okay, really good video as usual. Any news content, I will have the full video, like original video, down in the description if you want to go show some support, show some love. But yeah, it was really good. It is also personally my favorite episode. I think it's like rated 9.9 on IMDb right now, which is insane. Like, this is probably the highest rated season of ReZero. I think there was like an episode in Core 1 that was like a 10 out of 10, which is insane on IMDb. Like, that's insane. This gotta be like one of the most highest rated seasons of an anime ever, if I had to guess. But yeah, really excited to watch next episode. I hope that they let us know what happened, why Rui did what she did, why she said what she said, why was she low-key helping Subaru and stuff. And can't wait to see Subaru regain his memories and see what happens then. Are we gonna lose this Subaru, or is it gonna like feel like both of them like teaming up and kind of like merging together? But yeah, hope you guys like this reaction. Hope it made your day better. I'll see you guys later. Peace.